In sports cards, most things are just out of your control. From poor performance to injuries to off-the-field issues and more. There's no such thing as a sure thing. Let's data dive. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Data Dive powered by Market Movers. My name is Tyler Nethercott, better known as Teapot, back this week to talk about the dark side of sports card speculation, when things completely out of our control spell disaster for athletes' legacies and their card prices. And as always, this video is brought to you by Market Movers. Visit marketmoversapp.com and use promo code DIVE when you check out. This now gets you 14 days completely free to try out Market Movers and then 20% off for life as long as you are subscribed. Let's get into the data. Remember way back when a 20-year-old Kerry Wood struck out 20 batters in his first career shutout? What about 23-year-old Penny Hardaway heading to the NBA Finals with Shaq? Grant Hill, who many had coined as the best candidate to replace Michael Jordan as the next great GOAT in the mid-90s. Bo Jackson, Derrick Rose, Brandon Roy, Jay Williams, Tracy McGrady, Ken Griffey Jr., Tiger Woods, Sandy Koufax. The list goes on and on. I'm of course talking about injuries. They really, really stink. You feel for the athletes, you feel for their teammates, you feel for the fans, and you gotta feel for their card investors. Well, some people don't. Some people like to gloat about it, but the majority of us, we understand that it's really devastating all around. And there's perhaps no injury that I can remember in recent history more disappointing than Shohei Ohtani's torn UCL. He will likely need another Tommy John surgery, especially if he ever wants to pitch again. He could come back, other pitchers have done it, even after 2 Tommy Johns, but the road is hard. It's not going to be easy. And this news is all very fresh as of recording this video, but let's take a look, for example, at his Topps Chrome PSA 10 and see how this is already impacting his card prices. So this is just his chart over the last 7 days. I'm looking at his flagship Topps Chrome Pitching Base PSA 10, and so far it looks flat. As of right now, recording this video, we've got the data from 8/23, and you can see it's mostly flat. But I want to point out a few things, and that is already there's a buy it now for $265 just sitting there right now. The last sale was $300 yesterday. This card already priced $35 below the last sale. Nobody's touching it. And if we jump over to the completed sales from yesterday, we'll see a few transactions on auction. I would be very, very, very surprised if these cards actually get paid for. Unless they were paid for instantly. You've got one here from the big consigner DC Sports 87. That card may very well go unpaid, unfortunately for that seller, and get relisted back on auction and go for a much, much lower price. Ohtani is, we've talked about it. I've talked about him on recent videos. He's really the greatest all-around athlete that I think we've seen in a long time, and one of the greatest of all time. What he was doing was truly historic, truly one of a kind, and this is really, really, really defeating. I was really hoping to see him be able to pitch for at least another 3, 4, 5 years successfully at a high level, while also obviously out there mashing, maybe stealing a few bases. He had so much potential, and now we don't really know what the road ahead is going to be. I feel really bad for anybody who's been buying Shohei cards. I obviously sold my cards. I got out of them because I was just thinking I want to get back into some Ohtani cards in the offseason when things cool down a little bit. Now I'm going to have to pump the brakes and wait and see what happens with that. Now, of course, beyond injuries, there's another really frustrating and dark scenario, and that's off-the-field issues. Swamp Kings just released on Netflix about the Florida Gators. Remember Aaron Hernandez? More recently, think about Henry Ruggs, Miles Bridges, and especially notable are the recurring issues with Ja Morant. And now one of the biggest and brightest young stars of Major League Baseball, Wander Franco. Now look, I'm not interested in speculating or commenting on any of this. I will say it doesn't look good at all, and I'm confident that the authorities will handle it. But what I do know is that there are millions and millions of cards in existence, previously totaling tens or even hundreds of millions of theoretical dollars, which are now at risk of going straight down to zero. So let's jump over and take a look, for example, at what's been going on with Wander's price movements holistically in Market Movers. We've got cards with 463 cards with sales over the last 30 days, totaling quite a bit of money. And you can see total sales, almost $117,000 in sales in that 30-day time frame. And you can see down 34% over that time frame, and some cards down significantly more than that, especially over the last few days. Meanwhile, you see the volume change at 26%, a liquidation happening. People really don't know what's going to happen with Wander. So what do you think of this? All of this, to me, it's really sobering. It's a very sobering reminder. My thought is that you should never put more money into any cards ever than you can afford to lose, than you can afford to have go completely to zero. Injuries that derail players' careers are always really heartbreaking for those players, for their fans, for the people holding their cards. And criminal offenses are an entirely different situation that just make us all around disappointed and even angry at times, whether we own the cards or not. Bit of a different tone this week, but an important video, I think. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, as my friend Ian would say, be safe, be smart, and be humble.